thing I wanted to start on was this. Goldbridge has tweeted today and said that Danny Murphy taking a pop at me on TalkSport because I'm just a fan who knows nothing and that he's played the game. He said, what's your address, Danny? I'll send you a Manscaped starter pack. And then when you find your balls, we'll talk. So a nice clap back there from Goldbridge, there's no doubt. But essentially, and I'm not exactly sure yet, I've seen a lot of replies to this tweet, exactly what the context of the conversation was. But the overarching element is Danny Murphy's had a pop. He's attacked Mark Goldbridge and basically has alluded to, well, you've got all this influence, you've got all this power, you say all these things, but you didn't play the game. You don't know as much as us, so maybe you should keep your mouth shut a little bit. And this isn't the first time that fan media, people in our industry, and listen, Mark Goldbridge, as far as I'm concerned, he is at the top of the tree. He's the biggest, he's the best, he's the most influential. It's simple and as straightforward as that. But attacked again by the mainstream media, just because, in my opinion, he has far more influence than 99.9% of all professional pundits. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, look, I've always said this, right? Is, you know, when you have a football debate and people come back at you, and the first thing they'll say is, "Oh, well, so and so said this, I'll believe them over you." What I've always liked about that, and ironically, I've liked it, Terry, is when you look at it, pundits, ex-footballers are just football fans that were good at football. Right? They were very good at football, right? We've all had mates who at school, oh, will he make it? Will he not? What? So because he just didn't make it, it means his opinion is worse than the guy that did make it? Look, listen, if every single pundit's opinion was right, there'd be no BT Sport or TNT, whatever it's called now. There'd be no Gillette Soccer Saturday. There'd be no Match of the Day because they'd all agree. The fact that they all disagree, the fact that everyone loves tuning in to watch Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher have a Barney with each other, or Mika Richards and Roy Keane, they all disagree because they're all just football fans with their own opinion on the game. Now, Mark Goldbridge is an easy target. Mark Goldbridge, like you said, he's at the top of the tree in terms of YouTube world. Essentially, he's just a football fan that's done absolutely brilliantly in putting out his opinion to the masses. There's nothing wrong with that. But this whole we've gone into this era now of you don't know ball. This person doesn't understand football. I don't believe in all this at all. Look, for me, I see a lot of pundits chat a lot of nonsense. I see a lot of pundits, I think, chat really, really good stuff. It's personal opinion, right? Look before the Spurs-Arsenal game. Look at Paul Merson. Paul Merson comes out with Arsenal are going to destroy Spurs, right? What? Look how good Merson was as a footballer, Terry. Forget who you support. Paul Merson was a genius of a footballer. Does that mean his opinion's right? No. You know what I mean? Does it mean Gary Neville's opinion is right, when he couldn't manage a team to save his life? So I do think people are getting crazy. Mark Goldbridge is welcome to his opinion. There are people, I think, have crazy opinions. I'll call it like people like Rory Jennings has the worst football opinions ever. But that's nothing to do with him being a YouTuber. I just think that man has got crap opinions all over the place. But fair play, they're his opinions and he's sticking to them. Nothing to do with ex-footballer or not.
Yeah, I look at it from this, but there's a lot of jealousy. And what I've seen, and it's not just what I've seen. I 2 years ago at the Football Content Awards, Sky Sports won an award because there are awards at the Football Content Awards for non-fan media.
Yeah.
And I was up on stage and I was presenting the show, giving out the awards with Rocket, who used to be on Soccer AM. And when Sky Sports came up, they got booed the whole way up. I couldn't, still to this day, don't quite understand why the whole room booed them. It didn't really make sense, but they did. They booed them. And he got up on stage and I shook a few of the execs' hands and they said, oh. And when they were up on stage, they said, we want to thank you because their words were, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the way we now conduct ourselves, the type of content that we make is a mirror image of what you all as fans created. And that is what they've done. TalkSport, Sky Sport, they've kept a lot of what was traditional, but then they've seen what works in the fan media world and they've gone, right, we'll have some of that. We'll have some of this. Their Saturday social show is essentially, if you got rid of the influencers that were on it, nobody would watch it. As an example, TalkSport themselves, who Danny Murphy was on when he went at Goldbridge, have given Mark Goldbridge his own show. And he's the only person, as far as I'm aware, Educate me if I'm wrong. His show is called The Mark Goldbridge Show. Everybody else's show on there, it's TalkSport Drive or it's breakfast. I mean, Hawksby and Jake have got Hawksby and Jakey, a few of them. But a lot of the big shows, Alan Brazil's Morning Breakfast, that man's been on there about 20 years and he's got his name on it, right? And he's Alan Brazil, who was a big name 20 years ago in football. But Mark Goldbridge is not a quote-unquote professional journalist. He's not an ex-pro footballer. And straight away, as soon as he got a job at TalkSport, he had his own show in his own name. How many people get that? Not very many at all. And there is a jealousy. There is a jealousy amongst people for what, like me and Mark years ago had our beefs, and it was never about jealousy. There were some things that I said, things he did. We've crossed that now. We had our conversation, never pretending to be mates. But I have nothing but admiration for what he has achieved, how he's changed his family's life, the businesses that he's grown, the influence that he has. And you see a lot of people, especially ex-pros, bitter about it. And listen, I love hearing stories from ex-pros, insights of what goes on in dressing rooms. That type of thing is valuable. But their opinions sometimes have nothing to do with that. It's just, I think X and this is why. Well, I disagree. And the fact that I didn't kick a ball is irrelevant, because if we all had that outlook on life, none of the general public, unless you work there, could challenge the banking system. We could never challenge the police. We could never challenge government. You could never tell the builder that's around your house.
Unless you're in it. You can't have an opinion.
I don't think you're plastering that wall properly. You know, nothing. You're a plasterer. No, but it's dripping everywhere. Like, it cracks everywhere. I don't think you've painted that door properly. Why? Because there's loads of patches missing. You don't need to be a professional at a particular industry to critique it and criticize it. And fans have always done what we all do on social media. The difference is now we have a platform. And this is what I think irks a lot of people. Now, Danny Murphy's probably rich, but there's a lot of people who have studied journalism, worked in it their whole lives, and they earn a fraction of the money that some of these big YouTube stars, these big social media stars make. And they are bitter and they are jealous and they attack. And for me, I'll always stand up, even if it's a content creator I don't watch or one I don't particularly like, or you know, there's not many like that, but I'll always defend the industry I'm in, because I think what we have all collectively, with people like Don Robbie, Mark Goldbridge, Redmen TV, have innovated and created from almost day dot. It's something beautiful to behold. It's an industry that 10 years ago didn't exist, and nobody, not really, I think it just started. Nobody ever thought would take off. Now, multiple people have full-time jobs in it, and it's only growing. And for it to be attacked, I'm always going to stand there, and I'm always going to defend people like Mark from the mainstream media, basically saying your opinion's worth less than mine because I played the game. I think that's wrong. Very wrong.
Listen, I agree with you, whether it's Mark Goldbridge or anyone else. I just think it all stems from, again, it's this biased nature. How many football ex-pundits are so biased? You know, you'll get the Liverpool guys that will go on, it's all Liverpool. The Arsenal ones that go on, it's all Arsenal, Tottenham, right, so forth, so forth, so forth. At the end of the day, it's like anything. You've got the people you like to watch, the people you don't. You've got the opinions you like, the opinions you don't. And let's be fair, Terry, 9 times out of 10, why is a pundit bad? In a person's opinion, a pundit is bad because their opinions are different to yours, right? Essentially, let's be really honest. If I watch, I'm not saying any of these people, for example, but if I watch a panel show with Graham Souness, Roy Keane, and Jamie Redknapp, right? I'm going to watch that debate and I'm going to go, oh, he talks nonsense. And the one I think talks nonsense is going to be the one that I'm thinking, don't disagree. I don't agree with you there, but I agree with those two. That's human nature. It's nothing to do with did they play the game.
Do you want to know what's funny?
Madness.
A lot of people don't like. There's actually a comment here that says he has the right to an opinion. So why is Jamie O'Hara a pundit? He was a shit. I actually don't think Jamie O'Hara was a bad footballer. I just don't. I would love to talk to him about this. I think when he first broke through at Spurs, I thought he was all right. But
he was all right. Yeah.
I actually like Jamie O'Hara as a pundit because he doesn't talk about it as I'm an ex-pro. He speaks purely as a fan and he has fun with it. That's why I like him. He says things I disagree with, but I actually enjoy him because I don't think he's taking it overly. He's taking his job seriously, but he doesn't take himself too seriously. And I think that's really key. But this thing here from King Cantona that says they are right on Goldbridge and the likes of Terry, who perpetuate hate and hatred of players. The fan channels are the same as the game internet. It's a double-edged sword. They're the good and the bad. But again, you say we perpetuate hate. Just for giving an opinion is not perpetuating hate. We're not saying hateful things about people. Yes, we'll have our rants and we'll have our moans. but that isn't perpetuating hate.